In the enigmatic depths of Blackwood Hollow, ensconced within the ancient, gnarled arms of an ominous forest, an eerie mansion loomed. This mansion, a grotesque relic of yesteryears, boasted decrepit walls that crumbled like the fading memories of forgotten epochs, windows shattered like the hopes of the damned, and a roof that sagged under the burden of age-old secrets, as if bending beneath the weight of an eternity's worth of whispered malevolence. Whispers like spectral tendrils snaked through the town, weaving tales of a family that had once inhabited the mansion, a family whose very name sent shivers cascading down the spines of those who dared utter it, the Grimwoods. These Grimwoods were no ordinary kinfolk of Blackwood Hollow. They were shrouded in a sinister obscurity, their very presence casting a long, eerie shadow upon the town. No soul could fathom the origins of this enigmatic clan, yet the wind carried murmurs of a curse and ancient malevolence that had plagued their lineage across the annals of time. Legend spoke of a pact, an unholy communion struck between the Grimwoods and malevolent spirits, where otherworldly powers were granted in a macabre barter, the currency being their very souls. In return for these nefarious gifts, their existence spiraled into a nightmarish tapestry woven with threads of horror and madness. At the helm of this ghastly dynasty stood Ezekiel Grimwood, a towering figure with hollow eyes that gleamed like twin orbs of hellfire amidst the Stygian darkness. He was a maestro of the occult, delving into forbidden rituals that twisted the very fabric of reality itself. His wife, Lavinia, possessed an otherworldly allure, her alabaster skin marred only by the frigid, calculating glint in her eyes. Together, they sired 3 children. Lucinda, the eldest, a sadistic creature with an inclination for cruelty, Jasper, a silent sentinel brooding with violence, and little Rosalind, a child robbed of innocence, her purity eclipsed by the malevolent forces that surrounded her like a sinister shroud. Within the mansion's decaying walls, a labyrinthine maze unfurled, concealing forgotten chambers and decaying halls, each concealing its own unique horrors. Grotesque tapestries adorned the walls, depicting scenes of unspeakable violence, their vivid imagery twisted nightmares etched into the very fabric of the mansion's essence. The air hung heavy with the acrid scent of decay, a miasma that permeated every crevice, every shadow, suffusing the very essence of the mansion with an aura of malevolence. The Grimwoods seldom ventured beyond their macabre abode, finding solace in the companionship of the spirits that lingered within the mansion's recesses, their presence woven into the very fabric of the building. As years ebbed away, Blackwood Hollow succumbed to an unrelenting pall of fear. The Grimwoods' sinister influence metastasized like a malignant cancer, seeping into the heart of the community. The once vibrant town withered and decayed, its streets eerily bereft of life, its buildings crumbling into oblivion. Yet amidst the town's decay, the Grimwoods thrived, their power flourishing with each soul they devoured. At night, the mansion stirred, coming alive with ghostly echoes. Creaking floorboards and rattling windows orchestrated a macabre symphony, punctuated by the tortured cries of spirits ensnared within its walls. Shadows, like malevolent dancers, cavorted in the moonlight, twisting and writhing into grotesque shapes, ephemeral specters weaving nightmares from the threads of darkness. The very soil beneath the mansion was tainted, cursed by the blood of countless victims sacrificed in the name of unholy rites, the very earth shrieking in silent agony beneath the weight of its sorrow. One fateful night, a lone wanderer stumbled upon the decaying town of Blackwood Hollow. Oblivious to the horrors that lay in wait, he was drawn toward the mansion, a morbid curiosity compelling him forward, like a moth lured to a haunting flame. As he neared the mansion's imposing gates, an abrupt chill descended, the oppressive weight of centuries-old malevolence pressing upon his shoulders like a spectral hand. Within the mansion's gloomy confines, the Grimwoods sensed the intruder's presence. Ezekiel's eyes glowed malevolently as he whispered incantations, sending shivers racing down the wanderer's spine. Letting his lips curled into a cruel smile, while Lucinda and Jasper slithered from the shadows, eyes ablaze with a hunger that transcended the mere mortal. The wanderer found himself ensnared within the mansion's nightmarish embrace, the walls closing in around him like the jaws of a ravenous beast. His voice, a feeble plea, was drowned amidst the anguished cries of spirits that surrounded him. Desperation propelled him through twisting corridors, his footsteps reverberating through the hollow halls, like the panicked heartbeat of a prey fleeing from a relentless predator. Yet there was no sanctuary from the Grimwood's clutches. Lucinda's laughter reverberated like a haunting melody as she pursued him, her fingers brushing his skin like the icy tendrils of death. Jasper trailed silently, his eyes gleaming with madness, a harbinger of doom in the shadows. At the heart of it all loomed Ezekiel, his presence an omnipresent specter, malevolence personified. With no escape in sight, the wanderer found himself cornered within a dim chamber, a sanctuary turned tomb. The Grimwoods closed in, their faces twisted in sadistic delight. Ezekiel's hands rose, weaving incantations that sent waves of dark energy crashing into the wanderer's soul. His scream was a symphony of agony, his essence torn asunder by the Grimwood's unholy might. In the moment of his demise, the wanderer crumpled to the floor, a mere husk of his former self. The Grimwoods reveled in their triumph, their laughter echoing through the mansion like the howls of demons, a cacophony of malevolence. Another soul had succumbed, another life snuffed out in the name of their insatiable thirst for power. And thus the legend of the Grimwoods endured, a terrifying saga whispered in hushed tones by those who dared speak of the family that had once ruled over Blackwood Hollow with an iron fist. The town remained a desolate, haunted wasteland, its thoroughfares perpetually vacant, its structures forever shrouded in an impenetrable darkness. The Grimwoods' legacy served as a chilling reminder of the horrors lurking in the shadows, a cautionary parable of the abyss that could consume even the purest of souls. As long as the mansion stood, its malevolence would continue to cast a harrowing, eternal shadow over the forsaken town of Blackwood Hollow, an eternal reminder that some nightmares knew no end. In the eerie, far-flung hamlet of Blackwood Hollow, an unsettling saga echoed through the ages, a narrative that sent shudders cascading down the spines of the stoutest hearts. It was the chilling chronicle of the malevolent Meyerwood family, a lineage veiled in obscurity and woven into a tapestry of unimaginable atrocities. The Meyerwood Manor, a foreboding edifice, cast its ominous shadow on the outskirts of Blackwood Hollow, ensnared by gnarled arboreal sentinels and constricting tendrils. Whispers rippled through the air, claiming that the very house exhaled a sinister aura, an aura that tainted all souls that dared venture into its proximity. Yet the true terror lay not in the mansion's external facade, but within its accursed walls, where the Meyerwood clan resided. Silas Meyerwood, the patriarch, stood as a specter of gauntness, his spectral form adorned with hollow eyes that appeared to pierce the deepest abysses of the human psyche. Boasted decrepit rumors danced on the wind, whispering of nefarious pact he'd allegedly forged with the devil, gifting him command over the elements themselves. Storms would brew at his best, lightning would cavort to his caprice, and the very earth would quake beneath his bony feet. Beside him stood Eliza, a shadowy, decrepit enigma whose age defied discernment, her countenance bearing a bizarre amalgamation of youth and decrepitude. Behind her unnerving beauty lurked a malevolence so cunning that she emerged as the true architect of the family's sinister machinations. Their progeny, the Meyerwood children, were nightmare incarnate. Ezekiel, a 12-year-old harbinger of malevolence, sported raven-black locks and eyes gleaming with malicious intent. His eerie power allowed him to manipulate the minds of those unfortunate enough to fall under his influence, compelling them toward unspeakable acts. Amara and Azrael, the macabre twins, surpassed even Ezekiel in their disconcerting aura. Their flesh bore the pallor of death, and their unnatural, unblinking eyes emitted an ethereal glow in the inky darkness. They delved into forbidden arts, invoking demons and casting curses upon the hapless innocents who crossed their path. Whispers among the townsfolk painted them as the wellspring of the family's otherworldly abilities. The Meyerwood estate remained veiled in perpetual darkness, a realm untouched by the sun's benevolent rays. None dared approach, save for the unfortunate souls driven by morbid curiosity, those whose feet strayed too close to the looming abyss. Tragic fates befell those who ventured near. The vines guarding the mansion would constrict, strangling the life from them. Malevolent spirits would consume their essence, or they would descend into madness, tormented by the unholy cacophony emanating from within. The denizens of Blackwood Hollow existed in a state of perpetual dread, their lives governed by the specter of the malevolent Meyerwoods. Nightfall saw doors bolted, curtains drawn, and hushed tones exchanged about the horrors lurking in their midst. Paradoxically, their fear unwittingly bolstered the family's power, for each tremor of terror so it only strengthened their malefic abilities. One fateful night, amidst a tempestuous tempest rending the heavens above Blackwood Hollow, a valiant young woman named Emma emerged from the shadows. Her parents had fallen victim to the Meyerwoods' nefarious schemes, and she harbored a fervent vow to avenge their tragic demise. Guided by naught but a trembling lantern, Emma embarked on a courageous odyssey toward the accursed estate. The wind howled in anticipation, and the ancient trees seemed to writhe with anticipation at her audacious approach. Crossing the twisted gates, her heart pounded with a heady blend of fear and unyielding determination. Within the mansion's pitch-dark chambers, lit only by the eerie luminescence emanating from Amara and Azrael's unblinking gaze, Ezekiel's disembodied voice murmured seductive temptations, promising her unimaginable power and boundless wealth. Undeterred, Emma clung to her resolve, her hand quivering as she brandished a talisman, a protective artifact bequeathed to her by her ill-fated parents. As the twins unleashed a sinister incantation, the talisman blazed forth with a blinding radiance, a beacon of light repelling the encroaching darkness. The mansion quaked, the very foundations trembling as the siblings screeched in agony. Sensing their children's distress, Silas and Eliza hurried to the scene. What followed was a titanic clash between the forces of righteousness and malevolence, the mansion itself trembling beneath the strain of the family's malefic powers. Emma fought with every fiber of her being, her courage unyielding, yet the malevolent Meyerwoods proved to be formidable adversaries. It seemed as though the fabric of reality itself hung in the balance, unraveling thread by thread. In the end, it was Emma's unshakable determination that triumphed. With a final incantation, she banished the malevolent Meyerwoods to the netherworld, the mansion collapsing into ruin around them. The storm subsided, leaving behind a tranquility that settled upon Blackwood Hollow like a comforting blanket. The malevolent Meyerwoods had been vanquished, their existence extinguished, yet their legend persisted as a cautionary tale to all who heard its whispered cadence. Their dark legacy served as a stark reminder that evil, no matter how sinister, could be eradicated, even when faced with the most nightmarish of horrors. And so the denizens of Blackwood Hollow could finally breathe a sigh of relief, secure in the knowledge that the malevolent Meyerwoods would never again plague their nightmares. Yet the memory of that accursed family lingered in the minds of the intrepid souls who dared tread near the heart of the chilling town, where the cursed estate stood as a somber testament to the triumph of bravery over malevolence. In the obscure hamlet of Black Hollow, an enigmatic edifice loomed on the periphery, veiled from prying gazes by the cloak of secrecy. This mansion, an ancient relic of forgotten epochs, stood as an inscrutable testament to the eerie enigma that was the Devlin family, a clan notorious for their uncanny demeanor and bone-chilling repute. The mere whisper of their name sent convulsive shudders down the spines of the townsfolk, entwining their minds in a web of dread. At the helm of this cryptic family stood Edgar Devlin, a figure of towering emaciation, his eyes sunk in chasms that seemed to bore into the very essence of anyone daring enough to meet his gaze. Beside him, Isabella, a woman of scarce utterances, perpetually shrouded in the depths of ebony garments, her visage concealed beneath the obscurity of a wide-brimmed hat. Together, they begot three progeny, the twin progenies Elora and Celine, and a son christened Damien. The Devlin offspring, rare apparitions beyond the mansion's threshold, moved with an unsettling preternatural grace, their ocular orbs bereft of the vestiges of emotion. Whispers of the Devlins meandered through the town akin to wildfire, each tale more chilling than the last. Some murmured a vampiric lineage, condemned to eternal terrestrial meandering, feasting on the crimson elixir of the living. Others espoused the notion of witchery, clandestine rituals cloaked under the guise of nightfall's embrace. Regardless of the veracity of these tales, an undeniable aura of disquietude enveloped the Devlin family. It was on a tempestuous night, where lightning rent the firmament asunder and thunder bellowed ominously, that a cohort of intrepid adolescents resolved to delve into the heart of the mansion, unveiling the enigmas veiled within its time-worn walls. Armed with flickering flashlights and laughter tinged with apprehension, they ventured past the groaning gates, traversing the distance towards the forbidding monolith. Upon crossing the threshold, an icy draught permeated the atmosphere, an oppressive weight settling upon their shoulders. Cobwebs, like malevolent tapestries, hung aloft, while the faint musk of decay lingered in every crevice, an olfactory echo of the mansion's long-forgotten grandeur. Undeterred, the youths pressed on, their footsteps resonating eerily in the desolate halls. In their explorations, they chanced upon a chamber that quickened their pulses with dread. A room steeped in dim luminescence, adorned with cryptic symbols etched into the walls. At its heart lay a table swathed in tattered fabric, adorned with tomes bound in human epidermis and vials brimming with enigmatic concoctions. It was a sanctum of unspeakable horrors, a crucible where nightmares materialized. Abruptly, the door thundered shut behind them, ensnaring them within. Panic engulfed them as they realized they were not alone. From the shadows emerged the Devlin family, their ocular orbs ablaze with an otherworldly luminance. Edgar, Isabella, Elora, Celine, and Damien, they approached with a malignant grace, their laughter reverberating through the chamber, a sinister melody etched in terror. The Devlins unveiled their true nature, not vampires nor witches, but entities far more malevolent. They were collectors of souls, beings that subsisted on the fear and anguish of the living. The adolescents stood paralyzed, their terror petrifying them as the Devlins advanced, their fingers stretching out to graze their quivering flesh. One after another, the Devlins extracted the souls of the youths, their screams silenced by the storm outside, drowned in the cacophony of nature's fury. With each soul consumed, the room descended into a Stygian abyss, the air saturated with the stench of mortality. When the macabre ritual concluded, the Devlins stood amidst a tableau of lifeless forms, their ocular orbs gleaming with sadistic gratification. The storm outside waned, and the mansion lapsed into sepulchral silence once more, its secrets shrouded in the sanctum of its walls. The Devlins retreated into the obscurity from whence they came, their hunger satiated for the moment. Black Hollow, the once peaceful town, bore witness to an irreversible transformation, forever haunted by the specter of the nightmarish family that lurked in the shadows, awaiting unsuspecting souls to enthrall in their sinister dance. Thus the legend of the Devlins endured, a somber tale recounted to posterity, a stark reminder of the horrors that lurking perilously close to the mansion atop the hill.